Hello everyone, welcome once again to the War Leader PvP video. Today I'm going to be showing you some small grouping in Update 6 of the Rise of Isengard. Specifically, I'm going to be showing you the small grouping as it would pertain to the instance nomenclature in Lord of the Rings Online. So stuff with 2, 3, 4 people, very small groups. In addition, I'm going to be talking about a certain event that happened on the community of the Landroval server and my own thoughts about that, because I've got video footage of what happened during that entire thing. Also of note is that this is part 1 of a very interesting evening, and part 2 will be coming up in a separate video, and has been separated because the group size changes between part 1 and part 2. But enough about part 2, let's get on with part number 1. Alright, here we are in front of Elf Camp, and there are a pair of hunters here. One is further inside because he is at about 2,600 health, and there he is at Thuros, and there he hits his camo and vanishes.
No, that's the guy who was already weakened. I didn't even attack.
I did not attack Ethros because I was feeling sorry for him. This is a mistake. A very costly mistake.
Right,
it's going to come back to bite me a little bit further on in this fight.
Oh no, bad Buford.
Now, as you can see, the spider baby has pulled a bunch of aggro and already is gotten killed. There we go, I chopped my bubble. And right about now, Ethros should be opening up on me. And just watch my morale bar. Okay, there, he's opened up. Just look at that. Take a ton of hits and just get absolutely blasted. Have to hit both cooldowns right now. And he's just unleashed this horrifically huge amount of burst damage. I've got a ton of NPCs on me as well, so this is just a really bad situation, and I brought it on myself by letting him live. Fortunately for us, Semtex has just come in, and that Reaver is going to finish off Ethros, and also will be other spiders out there, and is going to be able to take care of a lot of stuff. Bob reset everything by doing his instead of Harrison, and now they're just trying to go after Harrison and finish him off. But Semtex is going to go down pretty soon. But here comes Guy.
Oh, Guy's here. Yeah, he's done.
Now, Guy is a rank 14 Reaver. Yes, you heard me right, 14. He originally transferred in from a Landroval, but he's become quite a fixture of the Landroval Ettenmoors, and he definitely knows how to turn his Reaver into quite a little beast. Alright, now here's that interesting little event that I was talking about earlier. Basically, what happened was certain members of the community, ones that had been very highly looked upon, decided that they were going to do a multi-box Reaver farm session. They brought 21 Reavers out and did this. And, well, he had his own reasons for it that he came out with on the forums, and basically his reason was that he wanted to show just how bad free-to-play and accommodations and all this stuff was, and how horrible it could actually be. And I do believe that that is what he wanted to do. At the same time, though, I believe that the way he went about this was in one of the most poorly thought out ways that he possibly could have. He did not think things through when he went about it, and just caused a lot of problems. I mean, here we are at Elf Camp. They're running all these Reavers in towards this group of Freeps here, and there's just tons of them. There's so many of them out here that they've been giving the population buff to the Freeps this entire night. I don't see it on this guy, Hunsta, right now, but it will pop back up. There it is again. Someone just came out of Landroval or something. And so, you see that they've got the population buff for large periods of time. It also gives them the plus extra glory and commendations and stuff from all of the kills. And it's just,
this is just
really annoying. Definitely degraded the play experience for everybody else because of what was going on there. And then there's the issue of all the commendations and glory and stuff that was farmed up, and it was acquired in a manner that was very dirty, like counterfeiting money, and it was just ugly, and it really was. And I don't like how it turned out at all, and I think that he should not have done what he did.
Yeah, finally got one.
Now I decided to go inside
there we go.
Elf Camp and go after Hunsta here. As you probably have already noticed, I'm on my Reaver for all this stuff. That's because my friend Bupkis and I had decided that we wanted to just have some fun, so we were doing Reaver Defiler and going at it. Notice my Reaver is rank 5. I did finally rank him up after a long time at rank 4. It took him probably 14 months to get to rank 4. Also, I have been spending all my commendations on my Reaver. Alright, but anyway, we switch back to our mains and pick up a third, And here's what happens after we finally do that. We end up going 3 versus 6 for a while against these guys. We're on a blue stab, as you notice, so we got NPCs from there. And there's only 3 of us. There's 6 opponents. And what are they doing? They're running to elf camp. This is what happens to us pretty much the entire time we're in this small group stage. The Freeps show absolutely no initiative. They never attack, they never do anything. We try leaving them alone in elf camp and stuff, and they sit there and do nothing. And so we are forced to take on the offensive role and push at them. And every time we push at them, they go inside of their camp and force us to pull a ton of NPCs. They won't fight us without a bunch of NPCs on us, even though they've got twice our numbers, and they've got the population buff this entire time. Plus, there's just the general balance stuff that's been going on ever since update 5, where mitigations got messed up and they still haven't been properly fixed. These Freeps basically give us a very sour taste in our mouths of the entire experience because of how they continuously go about playing in the Ettenmoors during this entire evening, where they show no initiative. They constantly force us to fight at extreme levels of disadvantage, and we just get sick of it. Now notice we are trying to focus on a level 69 champion here, but the champion is in glory stance and martial champion traded, and because of that they function as a tank, even though they're severely underleveled. And remember those mitigation things I mentioned earlier? Well, those mitigation changes mean that a level 69 champion, with the population buff, is very tankish, whereas a war leader who is 75 is not, without serious healing support behind them. And there's just all kinds of stuff going on like that.
Oh man.
Right, well, as you can see, we're finally getting swarmed by all the NPCs and everything. And there's Sofrost sitting there. He is a warden. He sits this out for quite a while. He was going around the Ettenmoors this particular night, just doing the RP stuff, playing his game for people. But he does eventually join into the fray, and when that happens, the numbers just swing even further against us. But even so, all things considered, you gotta remember we're fighting enemy NPCs because basically that's the only way that we can actually get these guys to attack us and fight back at all. But we're fighting in their NPCs at 2-to-1 odds, and we're doing okay, all of that considered. Yeah, we're getting killed a lot. No, we're not getting very many kills, but we're still managing to get some kills. We're making them flee before us. So things are going a little interesting and strangely because of that.
We're working on it.
Now, a lot of this is just because these small groups, they tend not to work out so well for the creeps. When you've got only 3 people or 2 people or 4 people, you've got some serious deficits that you've got to overcome. Typically, your deficits are going to fall into either not enough healing, not enough damage, or not enough utility. And you really need all of those. Which is why I prefer not to do this as a standard play style of mine. But I do run like this when I'm just messing around with some friends and just having a more relaxed time, trying to just hang out and relax. Enjoy just spending some time with a friend or two. Now, in the background, you do see that they're shooting at all kinds of targets, so we've still got a lot of NPCs on us. And at this point, I'm sitting here dead, just wondering when anything is going to happen, see how things are turning out. And seeing as how they're still surviving, still managing to stay on their feet, I should be releasing pretty soon here and mapping back to come back and support.
Yeah, I try to get inside TASA.
As you can see, the Freeps, well, no, one major part of why they don't have any initiative is because none of them are taking on a leadership role. None of them are actually taking command and taking charge. So they're very scattered and fragmented. They tend to group up together and all focus on me, probably because of plenty of experience inside raids and stuff of targeting me, especially because Dinlassus loves to put me up as a target and kill me.
Hold them if
but
you can.
As soon as I'm dead, they just kind of go poof, and some of them go back to the NPCs. Some of them are a little bit more aggressive, but because we're dealing with a major lack of damage in our group, we're unable to take advantage of any of that. Alright, finally coming back up here, and man, I did a lot of ranting there, didn't I? Well, on the other hand, I don't really have a whole lot to say about the the other stuff that was going on. Alright, now I'm coming here. This is an ideal situation for a war leader in this kind of small grouping environment and all that. I'm able to stand here in commander's stance, pumping out full strength heals with nothing harassing me. When you can get one of your healers in your small group to stand there in full healing mode, that frees up everybody else to be aggressive, go into damage mode, put out a whole lot of firepower, and that's what allows you to actually get kills, is being able to get one person free and have them focus on healing. Now, doing the double war leaders in brawler stance, that can work out on some occasions. I've done that multiple times, pushed into elf camp, made it live up to its reputation as execution camp, and just caused a lot of trouble for them. But that's not what typically happens. Notice they also have just gained a 7th free peer, Dark Smoke the captain, so they now have 3 healers and 4 damage plus. Well, I guess the champ technically counts as a tank, but you know, further numbers swayed against us, and there's still those NPCs all over. But unfortunately, now I'm no longer in brawler stance. Well, the commander stance. Now I'm in brawler stance, trying to pump out what heals we can, and we're trying to retreat as best as we can, because we know that since they finally got that captain there, we have absolutely no chance of getting any kills now. Before we had some chance, we did make, I think, 1 or 2, but with the extra healing from the captain, it's just not going to work out for us at all. Plus, we're also getting pretty sick of having to push into their NPCs to get them to do anything. Once again, as we're walking away, I'm keeping very careful, and I'm being very careful to make sure that I maintain my facing. I want to keep my front 180-degree arc presented towards my enemies, so that when they're shooting arrows, attacking with melee attacks, then I'm getting my blocks and my parries, and not giving them positional damage, because there are skills that give positional damage, but then the avoidance loss is the other big thing. Now right there, Mulsoon has actually gone link dead. His I can't remember if it was the laptop crashed or his client that crashed. It was something that crashed. So he has actually lost connection to the game, so he's not moving anymore. So we're trying to get him to stay alive, but it doesn't really work. I toss out an invite to Guy, because I figured that rank 14 Reaver could really swing the fight in our favor, but he declines the invitation. He's, I believe, doing some other stuff, mostly just talking and things. I can't remember what exactly was going on, but he decides not to do that. Mulsoon goes down, and now it's just time to get inside of the front doors and just weather the storm, try to pick up some more members, or find something that's going to change the dynamic of this fight, because we're far outmatched just because of the numbers imbalance and the fact that they've had the population buff until just now. Alright, Dark Smoke did overextend, so we're trying to get on top of him, put on damage, and actually kill him. He is doing an okay job of kiting, but he has presented his rear to us, so we're able to attack him without him getting blocks and parries. Manages to get the stun there, and he's already gotten very, very close to the healers in his own lines, and now it's time for us to pull back, because he's going to get heals now, and if we push forward further, we're just going to ask for death, basically. Fortunately, the hunters are not focusing on us. If the hunters were to turn around and start focus firing, we would not get away. But because they stay focused on the NPCs, we are able to get clear. Took a stun there, but still get my heals off, keep kiting, and I'll be back to the door very shortly. And now we're clear. Alright, so that's all that there is to see there. I think I've said pretty much all that there is to be said about that stuff. I've said my views on those particular group sizes, and some other things as well to chew on. So go ahead and look to part 2. Part 2 is definitely the better of the 2 parts as far as I'm concerned. And I may not like the very small group, the duo, the trio, a whole lot as my standard playstyle, but I must say that when you can get a 2 versus 2, so even numbers, or a 3 versus 3, or a 4 versus 4 at that group size, those can be some of the best fights that you get into. And they really do challenge you as a player and force you to use all your skills. There's the 1 versus 1, there are skills that you don't use. Whereas once you've got 1 or 2 more people, there are more skills that you have to pull out of your bag of tricks and actually make sure you use. The only real trouble is that the small group fights and the really small group fights are not only the hardest fights to find in Lotro, but to get an even numbers matchup like that is incredibly difficult. And on top of that, the other problem is if you're only at 2 or 3, even at 4, the amount of power that 1 extra member on the other side adds is phenomenal, because it takes them, it's basically like a 25% increase if they're at 4. It's a 33% increase in power if there's only 3 people on each side. It's a 50% increase in power if it's 3 versus 2. So you have to be aware of just how much a single body affects the dynamics of the fight and adjust accordingly. So getting a fairly balanced fight where you actually stand a decent chance is always very difficult at that particular size range. But still, you're free to do that, and as I said, they can be some of the best fights when you do get them. Well, that's all for this time. Good luck and have fun out there. Ugmog is out.